Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. As you know, my name is Margaret, and I am part of the management team at Columbus Real Estate. I know we're all familiar with the history of our company, but before I dive into the problem that I've been noticing and a potential solution that I would like you to consider, I thought we could dive a little bit into the history of CRE because it does help me to lead into what I'm going to talk about today. So in 1940, a family-owned real estate company was founded in Columbus, Ohio, and the company was run and family-owned all the way up until 2013. And at that time, the family decided to divide the business into two independent, separate real estate businesses. And one of the businesses that was created was Columbus Real Estate. At CRE, we are a traditional ma and pa establishment. One of our main philosophies is that if you provide excellent space and excellent customer service at a fair price, then that will be enough to, stay competitive. We've always believed that our spaces speak for themselves, as well as our fair prices. But one of the things that I'm going to talk about today and what I would argue is that in the modern business environment, having simply an excellent product isn't enough to stay competitive. So today I want to talk about an emergent problem that I'm noticing with Columbus Real Estate and how we can use those challenges to strengthen our business and to stay competitive in the long run. So what is the problem? Firstly, I would say that CRE has a lacking identity and image. When we made the division in 2013 and became CRE, we didn't have this intentional process of identity and image formation. And as a result, I think we have an unclear reputation formation in the community. One of the ways that I think we've been noticing as a staff, a symptom of this problem, is that even 7 years later after the division, we're still fielding calls from customers who are confused about who we are and think that we're still part of our parent company. So the reason that a clear identity and image and also an aligned identity and image are important is that it helps us to build a strong reputation, which then leads to differentiation. So the ultimate positive outcome of this potential project is that we would be able to establish a clear identity and image, which will help us to build a strong reputation and enhance our differentiation. And why is all of this important? Consumers in the modern business environment expect a brand, a close relationship, a connection with the thing that they're buying. And so firms that are not able to grow in tandem with these societal expectations aren't going to stay competitive in the long run. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the formal investigation proposal. So how are we going to go about finding a solution to the problem we just discussed? Firstly, I would recommend that we conduct an identity audit. And the purpose of the audit would be to understand whether or not the current internal reality, so how we see ourselves, compares to key constituent perception. So how we're seen on the outside by the community. What is our image? I would recommend that we hire an external consultant to conduct the identity interviews. I think it's important that we use someone who's external to CRE, someone who specializes in this kind of work, mostly because we want to ensure that the interviews that we conduct with our key constituent groups yields unbiased, unfiltered, truthful responses that will be the framework of our decisions moving forward. So I would suggest that we do interviews with our internal management team as well as current and past tenants who are those two groups are key constituent groups for us. And through these interviews, we can uncover patterns and areas of inconsistency between how we see ourselves and our image, right? That external constituent perception. And then through that information, we can establish goals and projects moving forward. So we're going to talk now about investigation timing and resources. The nice thing about this project is we don't anticipate it to be very expensive or take a lot of time, which I know is good news for everybody. So our first step is that we would need to spend time and funds to vet and hire an external identity audit consultant, so someone who specializes in this work. This person would execute the identity audit, they would analyze the interview results, and they would also recommend a path forward for CRE. We would work with the consultant for this action plan, and then it would be our responsibility as management staff to then implement these suggestions. At the start of the project, we would work with the consultant to create interview questions for current and past tenants, which again are two key constituent groups. It's important that we work with the consultant on this particular piece because we have an inside industry knowledge that the consultant may not have about real estate. And so with our knowledge and the consultant's recommendations of other questions we can ask, we can have a really rich interview process. Another thing that we'll need for this project is a physical space to conduct the interviews. We're going to want something that is private, soundproof, a place where people who are being interviewed will feel safe and comfortable, and will then hopefully yield unfiltered information. From the patterns that we do find from this work, we can reestablish internal and external branding and marketing. And I do expect this project will take us start to finish around 9 months. Okay, so if we do this proposed project, what will be the desired results? What are the outcomes that will result from this project? So firstly, we will be able to establish a clear identity and identity standards. And then we can also align our identity with our image, which, as we know, allows us to build a stronger reputation for CRE, which will then allow us to differentiate from our neighboring real estate firms in Columbus, and also will allow us to strengthen our relationships with tenants. Through these interviews, we'll have a better idea of the wants and needs of key constituency groups. And so that will help us to perhaps adjust our operations or change our offerings in a way that's going to satisfy those needs. We can also increase trust from our customers. Again, we know that in the modern business environment, consumers want to feel a connection to brands. They want to trust the firm that provides the product that they're purchasing. And so by conducting this audit, we'll enhance trust in our communities about who we are and what we do, because that will become clear. Another thing is that we'll be able to increase customer satisfaction. This kind of loops into strengthening our customer relationships, because we'll be able to understand the wants and needs of our consumers. And then lastly, one of the things that we know about identity and image and reputation management is that they are qualitative elements that yield quantitative economic results. So one of the things that we can expect as a result from this proposed project is lower rates of rental space vacancies, especially in times of economic uncertainty. So I'll go ahead and leave it here and open it up for questions. Thank you again for your time today, and I look forward to speaking with you more.